Sometimes life doesn't make sense, and we wish we knew what came next. But while we only see one piece of the puzzle, God sees the whole picture. Today we're talking about trusting Him, even when we don't understand. This is Teen Talks, and let's get into it.
In the book of 1 Kings 17 verse 9, it says in NLT version, "Go and live in the village of Zarephath, near the city of Sidon. I have instructed a widow there to feed you." Here God is speaking to Elijah in the middle of a famine, and the consequence of that obedience of Elijah we see in verse 16 of the same chapter. There was always enough flour and olive oil left in the containers, just as the Lord promised through Elijah.
Here the widow agreed to make Elijah his meal with the last of a flour and oil, making bread for him, and a consequence of that was that God made it eternal.
Yes, so He miraculously multiplied it, and then they had enough food. So Elijah was blessed by the food that he received, and so was the widow and her son.
Afterwards, the son died, unfortunately.
And in verse 22, we see that the Lord heard Elijah's prayer, and the life of the child returned, and he revived. So here we also see that God used Elijah to bless this family as well as blessing Elijah, because there was a famine. So it meant that Elijah did not have shelter nor food. So God provided Elijah this opportunity with the widow to have food and shelter, as well as using Elijah to give them a miracle, multiplying their food and reviving her son.
Also, in the book of Acts, chapter 10, verse 19 to 20, it says, "Meanwhile, as Peter was puzzling over the vision, the Holy Spirit said to him, 3 men have come looking for you." 20. "Get up, go downstairs and go with them without hesitation. Don't worry, I have sent them." Here, the vision was that there were many unclean foods according to Jewish culture, and God is telling Peter to rise up, kill them, and eat it. And Peter was like, "What's going on, God? These are unclean." And God says, "Don't call anything I've called clean, unclean." So he was still confused, and then these random 3 men came and he went with them. In the book of Acts, chapter 10, verse 34 to 35, it says, "Then Peter replied, I see very clearly that God shows no favoritism. In every nation he accepts those who fear him and do what is right." Now, Peter here realizes that, okay, let me go a bit back for a bit of a backstory. He goes to a Gentile's home where he eats there, and Peter realizes that God actually God also loves the Gentiles, that the death of Jesus was not just for Jews, but for the whole world. And without that, we actually wouldn't have become Christian.
True. And also zooming in on that as well, further, if Peter had not obeyed, if Peter had not listened to what God said, we would not have known about the truth, because we are actually, compared to the Jews, Gentiles. But if Peter had not listened to God and gone with Cornelius and spoken to Cornelius, we would not have received the gospel.
And Cornelius is the Gentile, by the way.
Yes. In other words, in our class of the Israelites and Gentiles. So, to round up, here are our 3 points for today. God has a plan for you. God has always got a plan for you. Whether it seems out of your reach, whether it seems out of your idea, what you think is happening, what you think you're expecting, God has got a plan for you. In Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the thoughts I have towards you, saith the Lord. They are plans of good
and not
for evil, to give you an expected end."
Or future and hope in different translations.
Even if
our second point, sorry for interrupting you.
That's fine.
Our second point is that you should always obey God no matter what. Because when you obey God, God blesses you. Just like he had blessed Elijah by giving him a secure way to get food during the famine, and God uses you to be a blessing to others. And our third point is,
when you obey God as well, when you go in the direction God wants you to, like Elijah, you will see miracles.